Come in gently. Take a slow breath. Let your shoulders relax. This message is for the one who has been carrying a label that never belonged to them. Too much, too emotional, too direct, too serious, too honest, too deep, too aware. Too fast to notice patterns, too unwilling to accept excuses, too strong to be controlled. If that word has been thrown at you like a stone, I want you to set it down right here, not with anger, with clarity, because the truth is not that you were too much. The truth is that you have been in rooms where your light exposed what others were trying to hide, and people often call you too much when they can't meet you with maturity. If you value messages that heal the mind and strengthen your choices, subscribe now. Not as a favor, as a way to keep your thinking steady. When old wounds try to speak again, you will need consistent truth, not random advice. Now listen closely. Too much is one of the most common ways emotionally unprepared people protect themselves from responsibility. It sounds like an opinion, but most of the time it is a confession. It means, I cannot hold what you require. It means, your standards make me uncomfortable. It means, your clarity exposes my inconsistency. It means, your emotions demand emotional intelligence, and I do not have it. It means, your depth is asking me to grow, and I prefer comfort. So instead of rising, they try to reduce you. Instead of learning, they try to label you. Instead of building, they try to shame you into silence. And that is why this divine message matters. You are not too much. You are being matched with a younger man who can handle you. Not handle you like you are a problem. Handle you like you are a gift with weight. Handle you with care. Handle you with steadiness. Handle you with emotional maturity. Handle you with respect. Now I know the word younger is where people get loud. Society loves shortcuts. People love stereotypes. They assume younger means unserious. Younger means immature. Younger means temporary. But life has already taught you something that is very simple. Age does not guarantee character. Age does not guarantee loyalty. Age does not guarantee discipline. Age does not guarantee emotional intelligence. Age is not maturity. Maturity is a pattern. Some people grow older and never grow up. Some people grow older and only become more entitled. Some people grow older and still avoid accountability. Some people grow older and still fear commitment. And some people are younger, but they are disciplined. Younger, but they are focused. Younger, but they know what they want. Younger, but they can communicate like an adult. Younger, but they do not punish boundaries. Younger, but they do not run from responsibility. Younger, but their character is stable. So the divine message is not telling you to worship youth. It is telling you to stop using the wrong measurement. Stop measuring safety by age. Measure safety by fruit. Measure safety by consistency. Measure safety by how a person behaves when you set a boundary. When you ask for clarity, when you slow down, when you disagree, when you need reassurance, when life gets stressful. Because the right man will not need you to be smaller to feel big. Let's talk about what handle you actually means in real life, not in motivational words. A man who can handle you does not laugh when you express a need. He does not call you dramatic when you ask for respect. He does not call you controlling when you ask for clarity. He does not call you difficult when you set a boundary. He does not punish you with silence when you speak your truth. He does not disappear when you ask where the relationship is going. He does not make you feel guilty for wanting stability. Instead, he listens. He responds. He repairs. He communicates. He stays consistent. He protects peace, and you will feel it, not only in your emotions, but in your body. Your nervous system will not be on alert all the time. You will not be guessing every day. You will not be decoding mixed signals like homework. You will not be scared to speak because you're afraid of losing him. Over time, your mind becomes quieter. You start to breathe normally again. You start to feel safe enough to be yourself. Now let me say something that will heal someone deeply. Sometimes you were not too much. You were simply asking the wrong person for the right love. You were pouring into a container that could not hold you. Then, when it overflowed, they blamed you for spilling, instead of admitting they were too small to contain what you carried. That is why shrinking never worked. Shrinking only delayed the pain. Maybe you tried to become easy to keep someone. You stopped asking questions. You stopped expressing feelings. You stopped correcting disrespect. You started acting like you did not care. You started tolerating what you hated. You started accepting the bare minimum and calling it love. And what happened? You still did not feel secure, because the problem was never your muchness. The problem was their lack of maturity. So this message is your permission to stop editing yourself for love. But hear this carefully. Not shrinking does not mean becoming harsh. Not shrinking does not mean becoming aggressive. Not shrinking means becoming clear. Clear is calm. Clear is direct. Clear is steady. Clear does not beg. Clear does not chase. Clear does not manipulate. Clear communicates and observes. Clear sounds like this. I need consistency. I need respect. I need communication. I do not do confusion. I do not stay where I am punished for having feelings. I do not give deep access without clear intention. I am building toward marriage, and I move with wisdom. A man who can handle you will not be intimidated by sentences like these. He will feel safer around them, because serious men do not fear standards. Only unserious men do. Now, let's talk about why some of you struggle to believe this message. It is because being called too much has trained you to expect rejection. So even when a healthy man appears, your mind starts scanning for danger. You start looking for the hidden motive. You start preparing your exit. You start testing him without noticing. You become guarded, not because he harmed you, but because your past trained you to protect yourself early. This is common. It is also fixable. Healing does not mean you trust blindly. Healing means you stop punishing the present for the past. So how do you move wisely with a man who can handle you? You do not rush. You do not assume. You do not accuse without evidence. You communicate. You observe patterns. You keep your standards steady. You allow trust to grow through consistency. Because trust is not something you force in a day. Trust is something you build over time now. Since this message is also about a younger man, there is one key boundary that protects you from imbalance. A younger man who can handle you must also be able to handle himself. You are not being matched with a younger man to raise him. You are being matched with a younger man to build with him. So watch for this difference. A boy wants your guidance. so he can remain irresponsible. A man wants your partnership so he can become more effective. A boy hears your standards and feels attacked. A man hears your standards and feels invited to build. A boy wants you to manage him. A man manages himself. A boy wants love without weight. A man is willing to carry weight. A boy is allergic to accountability. A man respects accountability. That is the difference. And you do not need to argue to discover it. You only need to watch. What repeats now? Let's make this even more practical. Here are the moments where too much usually shows up, and how a healthy man responds. You ask for clarity. Unhealthy response. Why are you doing this? Just relax. You overthink. Healthy response. I understand. Let's talk. I want us to be clear. You set a boundary. Unhealthy response. You're hard. You don't trust me. You're making it complicated. Healthy response. I respect your boundary. Thank you for telling me. You express emotion. Unhealthy response. You're dramatic. You always have a problem. Healthy response. I hear you. Tell me what you felt. I want to understand. You address disrespect. Unhealthy response. You're too sensitive. It was just a joke. Healthy response. I'm sorry. I won't repeat that. I want you to feel safe with me. You slowed down. Unhealthy response. Pressure, pouting, distance, manipulation. Healthy response. Patience, consistency, respect. Do you see it? The right man does not need you to disappear to keep peace. The right man is part of the peace. Now let's touch something tender. A lot of people who are called too much are actually people who are deeply loyal, deeply intentional, deeply future-minded. When you love, you do not play. You build, you plan, you invest, you think about tomorrow. That is not too much. That is rare. But when a rare heart meets an unserious person, the rare heart gets blamed for wanting what is normal in covenant. So you start questioning your own needs. You start lowering your expectations. You start acting like loyalty is a luxury, like respect is a bonus, like consistency is a miracle. It is not. Consistency is basic spouse behavior. So, today, your mind needs to reset. Your needs are not too much. Your standards are not too much. Your desire for peace is not too much. Your refusal to live in confusion is not too much. Your standards are simply too high for people who prefer low effort. And here is where the divine match becomes visible. A man who can handle. You does not only accept your strength, he makes space for your softness too. He does not make you stay in survival mode. He does not force you to carry everything. He does not enjoy watching you struggle. He brings support. He brings steadiness. He brings partnership. Because the goal is not to find someone who is impressed by you. The goal is to find someone who is prepared for you. Impressed people clap and disappear when the work starts. Prepared people stay and build when the work starts. And for many of you, the man who is prepared for you will not match the crowd's assumptions. He may be younger, but his mindset will be solid. He may be younger, but his actions will be consistent. He may be younger, but he will not be intimidated by your depth. He will not ask you to shrink. He will not punish your honesty. He will not call your standards too much. He will call them wisdom. Now, let's address the last trap that steals good love. Over-explaining yourself to people who do not understand you. When this match happens, some voices will get loud. People will have opinions. Some will be genuine, some will be jealous, some will be fearful, some will be controlling. But your future cannot be built on other people's comfort. Your future must be built on truth, character, and peace. So you learn privacy, not secrecy, privacy. You learn to protect what is growing. You learn to reduce outside access. You learn to stop debating your destiny, because your relationship is not a group project. And as you hold that boundary, something will start happening inside you. The label too much will lose its power. You will stop flinching when you express a need. You will stop apologizing for having standards. You will stop acting like you were lucky to be chosen. You will start choosing to, calmly, wisely, with peace. You are not too much. You are not the problem. You are simply no longer compatible with low-effort love. And the moment you accept that, you stop shrinking. You stop begging. You stop giving. You stop chasing. You start moving like someone who is meant to be loved properly. You start moving like someone who is building toward marriage, not random attachment. Because when a man can handle you, you will not have to perform for love. You will not have to reduce your personality to keep him. You will not have to suffer to prove you are worthy. You will be able to breathe and build, and that is where your future begins, right at the point where you stop negotiating your identity for acceptance, and you start recognizing the kind of man who does not fear your depth, but meets it with stability, consistency, and real intention. And once you recognize that kind of man, the next phase is learning how to receive him without turning your past into a prison. Because the truth is, many people don't lose love because they asked for too much. They lose love because they finally met something healthy and didn't know how to stay present inside it. They kept bracing for the switch. They kept expecting disappointment. They kept scanning for danger. And that constant scanning slowly turns into self-sabotage. So let's make this clear and simple. A younger man who can handle you will not need you to become smaller, but you will need to become calmer. Not calmer as in silent, calmer as in secure, calmer as in I don't punish what I'm afraid to lose, calmer as in I communicate instead of testing, calmer as in I observe patterns instead of assuming motives, calmer as in I don't confuse peace with boredom. Because stability can feel unfamiliar when your past was unstable. And unfamiliar does not mean wrong. It just means new. Now, here's what most people miss. Being matched with a man who can handle you doesn't only mean he can handle your strength. It means he can handle your softness too. Some of you became strong because you had no choice. You learned to survive. You learned to carry weight. You learned to fix, manage, plan, and hold everything together. And people praised you for it. But inside, you were tired. Inside, you wanted someone who would protect your heart, not just admire your independence. A man who can handle you doesn't only say, I love how strong you are. He also creates space where you don't have to be strong all the time. He makes it safe for you to rest. He makes it safe for you to express emotion without being called dramatic. He makes it safe for you to be human. And that is what a lot of people are truly praying for. Not a perfect person, a safe person. So how do you know he's safe? Not by how intense he is, not by how jealous he acts, not by how many big promises. He makes you know he's safe by the way he responds to normal relationship moments. Here are the moments that reveal everything. When you bring up a concern, does he listen or does he become defensive? When you say you don't like something, does he adjust or does he argue? When you are emotional, does he comfort or does he shame you? When you set a boundary, does he respect or does he punish? When you slow down, does he remain consistent or does he withdraw? When life stresses him, does he stay respectful or does he become harsh? When he makes a mistake, does he take responsibility or does he blame you? A man who can handle you does not fear accountability. He respects it. Now, let's talk about the younger part again, because I want to remove fear without removing wisdom. A younger man who can handle you will show two powerful things early: self-leadership and teachability. Self-leadership means he manages himself. He doesn't need you to be his manager. He doesn't need you to parent him. He doesn't need you to rescue him from consequences. He handles his responsibilities. He keeps his word. He shows discipline. He has direction. Teachability means he can learn without ego. If you bring wisdom, he doesn't treat it like an attack. He respects it. He grows. He listens. He doesn't compete with you. He doesn't try to win every conversation. He understands that partnership is not a competition. And that's why this match works when it's divine. It's not about age. It's about posture. Now, I'm going to say something that will save your audience years. Many people who are called too much are actually simply too clear. And clarity scares people who want to hide. If someone keeps calling you too much, watch what happens when you stop explaining yourself and simply hold your standard. A person who is serious will rise. A person who is playing will resist. Because standards act like a filter. They don't make you lonely. They make you selective. They remove noise. They reveal intent. So what should your standards be if you are preparing for marriage? Not a long list of impossible demands. Just strong basics that protect your future. Respect, consistency, clarity, accountability, emotional, safety, loyalty, shared values, willingness to build. These are not too much. These are the minimum for covenant. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Some of you have been giving spouse love loyalty to people who were giving you seasonal effort. That's why you felt too much. Because when you pour deeply into someone shallow, you feel like you are overflowing, and they call your overflow a problem. But the overflow was never the problem. The container was too small. So here is how you move differently going forward. You don't pour deeply into potential. You pour deeply into consistency. Consistency earns depth. And this is how you stop wasting time. You stop giving your whole heart to someone who has not shown whole intention. Now, let's talk about something important for long-term retention, because this touches real life and your audience will lean in. Many people want to be handled, but they don't realize what makes them hard to handle isn't their personality. It's their unhealed triggers. Triggers are the moments where your past hijacks your present. A tone reminds you of an old wound. and suddenly you react like you're back in that old relationship. A delay in texting reminds you of abandonment, and suddenly you accuse without evidence. A small misunderstanding reminds you of betrayal, and suddenly you become cold. So what do? You don't pretend triggers don't exist. You manage them like an adult. You pause before you react. You name what you feel without attacking. You ask for clarity instead of assuming. You separate the present from the past. That is emotional maturity. And a younger man who can handle you will do his part too. He won't mock your healing process. He won't use your wounds against you. He won't deliberately trigger you to gain control. He will respect your growth and protect the relationship while you heal. Now, we need to talk about the biggest mistake people make when they finally meet someone who can handle them. They test them with silence. Silence is not a test. Silence is a wall. Healthy love does not grow through guessing games. Healthy love grows through communication. So if something bothers you, say it calmly. If you need reassurance, ask clearly. If you fear something, express it without accusation. A man who can handle you would rather have a clear conversation than an emotional storm created by assumptions. Now, let's address outside voices. This is where many relationships get contaminated, especially when there's an age difference. People will talk, they will comment, they will assume, they will project. And if you keep letting them speak into your private space, they will eventually confuse you. So you need a boundary. Not everyone gets access to your relationship. Privacy is not secrecy. Privacy is protection. You can love your friends and still not allow them to shape your future. You can respect your family and still not hand them the steering wheel of your marriage. The home you build must be protected from constant commentary. Now, let's shift into a very practical psychology tool your audience can use immediately. It's called pattern proof. When your mind starts doubting, don't fight your mind with feelings. Fight it with evidence. Ask yourself, what has this man consistently shown me? How has he handled conflict? How has he responded to my boundaries? How has he treated my emotions? How has he behaved when I slowed down? How has he shown responsibility in his own life? If the pattern is stable, the doubt is likely fear, not discernment. If the pattern is inconsistent, the doubt may be wisdom warning you. This tool saves people years, because it keeps you from doing two dangerous things: trusting blindly or distrusting unfairly. It keeps you in wisdom. Now, there is another layer here. Some of you have been attracted to men who are intimidated by strong women. They want to be admired but not challenged. They want to be obeyed but not accountable. They want control, not partnership. That's why you were called too much. You were too much for their ego. But the man who can handle you doesn't need to shrink you to feel like a man. He is secure enough to love you as you are. He is not threatened by your voice. He is not threatened by your intelligence. He is not threatened by your standards. He is not threatened by your ambition. He wants to build with you, not compete with you. And this is where your audience needs a healing reminder. A secure man does not fear a secure woman. They build together. Now, let's lock the message in your spirit with a clear identity shift. Because speeches that change lives always end with a decision. Here is the shift. You stop apologizing for being deep. You stop begging people to meet you with maturity. You stop shrinking to fit a shallow love. You stop confusing your standards with arrogance. You stop calling your needs too much. You start choosing alignment over attention. You start valuing peace over intensity. You start requiring consistency over charisma. You start building with someone who can hold you properly. And now, strong action. Subscribe now if you haven't yet. Not because you need another channel, because you need a consistent space that keeps your standards strong and your mind clear while you prepare for marriage. Like this message so it reaches someone who keeps shrinking themselves to keep love. Comment, "I am not too much," and let it be your new agreement with your future. Share it with a friend who needs to stop pouring into people who keep calling them too much while offering too little. You are not too much. You are simply not meant for low-effort love. And you are being matched with someone who doesn't fear your depth, doesn't punish your honesty, and doesn't run from your standards. Someone who can handle you with respect, with steadiness, and with real intention.